James Steinhubel on the Student Channel with Cindy Stibbard, owner of StudySpot Vancouver. How are you doing, Cindy?
I'm very well, James. How are you?
Fantastic. It's great to see you. This is a very interesting business that you have here. Just briefly, give us the thumbnail on it.
Okay, so StudySpot Vancouver is an executive functioning and academic coaching company. So a little bit different than tutoring. We don't focus specifically on a certain content area like math, science, English, but all encompassing, we focus on skills that can be applied across the board to all those subjects. And we focus primarily on developing executive functioning skills in our students. And executive functioning skills are those life skills like time management, being able to prioritize, being able to keep on task, focus, emotional control. Those are tasks that in life really apply, but also in school apply even more, because that's what's going to create success and help learning. So we take those skills and we couple them with academic skills like study skills, better reading skills, better writing skills, and even note-taking skills, so that they have some tools to be able to learn better at school. Because what we find is in high school, as the years progress, the content becomes much more complicated as the years go on. And students are realizing that they have a hard time keeping up. Why can't I just study the night before anymore and I can't get an A? Why can I just leave everything to the last minute? I can't. And now I'm stressed, I have anxiety, and I'm falling behind. So we teach them how to put these skills in place, and it gives them a sense of control again in their life, and a huge sense of relief when they're able to regain that success at school.
It's very exciting. It's very bold, and it's standing, right with the challenges that students have in the modern time. Where do these ideas come from? Where is StudySpot from?
It originated actually in Toronto back in 1999. It's been around for a while. And it was initially invented by a psychologist who worked with children who had diagnosis of various learning disabilities and attention deficit disorders. He realized that if you focus on executive functioning skills, the brain was able to learn academic skills better. But over time, what was discovered was that executive functioning skills can be applied to every learner, not just the ones who had diagnosed learning disabilities, let's say. So over time, it grew, and I brought it to Vancouver, or out west, I guess I should say, 2 years ago. So I have coaches that work with students all around the Lower Mainland and all around the province. We can work internationally as well. I have got coaches that are from all over the world, actually, because now that we're online, it's easy to connect really good people with students that are in need.
So what does that look like for a family? They're gonna bring a coach into their student's life. What does that look like?
Normally, I recommend them to register for coaching sessions a minimum of once a week, preferably twice, and it's an hour session each time. And now that we are conducting everything online, it's much easier to be able to be flexible with where the location is of the student and of the coach. Before, I was restricted by physical geography, but it's all done on Zoom or Google Meet or whatever other platform the coach finds more suitable. And they work one-on-one, going through sharing screens, sharing our tools and our methods with the students online, and then allowing some time so that the student can go away, practice those skills, implement what they're learning, and then the coach can follow up and hold them accountable for practicing those skills and progressing forward.
So of course, some students are coming to you. They're not quite ready because they need direct intervention on how to common factor or probabilities. They need to get that fixed. But then it's like you can't keep falling back into this well of desperate learning need. They need to be taught basically what I'm what I'm seeing from your set of skills, which we'll go over, is how to learn.
Exactly. And we really believe at StudySpot that the good grades go to good students. And those are the students that know how to study and they know how to learn. If they leave everything to the last minute, that method is going to start breaking down and it's not going to work. So our coaches really set our students up for success. They can also support them with content learning. So I do have all my executive functioning coaches learn the same program, the StudySpot program, but they also have their own different unique skill sets. Some are really strong in math and they're excellent math professors. Some are excellent scientists. Some are English strong. So I would match a student based on also their academic need so that they can work on both of those skill sets at the same time.
So, I'm seeing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm seeing this is, really applicable to, like, say, grade 8 to second year university.
Absolutely. We have actually have a couple of grade 7 students, even because these skills can be put in place right before they go off to high school. But high school, definitely, this is where everything is on them. Teachers are expecting high school students to come with the knowledge of being able to organize themselves, being able to manage their time, being able to meet deadlines and get their homework done, and being able to study for tests. I mean, we don't learn that in school. A teacher doesn't sitting there teaching you how to study for your science test. They expect you to know. And as the years go on and the content, like I said, gets more complex, kids are struggling. Like, how do I learn this? Like, this is getting hard. So our coaches put these skills in place so then it gives them confidence and it makes them better learners.
And it's tough to coach our own children. We both have, we have emotional ties that we're able to wield against each other. And so it's difficult to coach. So and so I can see the real development there. Is there a little bit involvement of the parent on how to now have this, superpower student work? Like, how do you consult with the parents as well on how what to do?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. We definitely do that. I mean, I'll tell you a story for this. I've been in education industry for over 20 years, and I have a son with dyslexia myself, and I actually have a degree in learning disabilities, but my son won't learn from me. I apparently don't know anything. So he works with one of my coaches, and that just makes our relationship and our life a little bit easier because he's doing his thing with a coach who I have nothing but confidence in, and he's getting the support he needs. As parents, it's so challenging to be able to be that person for your child because it's too personal. Things get in the way. You're gonna struggle and butt heads, and that puts a lot of tension on your relationship with your child. So parents are quite relieved when they have a coach coming into their child's life because this coach is keeping them accountable. This coach is keeping them motivated. That as a parent, they don't have to. They can go about their day, go to work, do what they need to do, and their child is being taken care of. Yes, of course, they have to check in. We make sure that the parents are set up and given copies of all of our material that we use. I even have a program where the coaches send a summary to the parents after their session with each child immediately following the session so that the parents have an idea of exactly what they've done. Because a lot of students, won't share this. I know my grade 7 son, I'll ask him what they did in their coaching session and he's like, "Oh, nothing, Mom, it's fine. I'm doing fine." So this way parents can get a little summary as to what they covered and what to expect going forward.
That's it's so interesting that even as you see that as well, and that's so good. And in school and life, there's opposition, there's competition, there's reward for not victory but success, but there's the risk of loss, right? So it's neat that it's termed coach, as opposed to whatever other word that you guys could have come with. I like that. And then that you got executive functions, working memory, written output, and gifted LD. So these are are programs, products, services that have been developed by StudySpot and are successful for a reason,
Yes.
because people need them. So
Yeah.
parents that have kids or students in their home, you know, executive functions, you know, what are, other than the fact that they're, consistently scoring 55% or less, what kind of signs are that they need a coach that to coach them on executive functions in just looking at their life? What can a parent look for?
Yes. So you can see executive functioning skills or deficiencies in them right at home, and they start at a young age. Building them up and teaching them these skills can happen when they're a lot younger. And they can also take the form at home in schedules, routines, having constant chores that they do on a regular basis, even having their activity schedules consistent. So these are the types of things that can help to build executive functioning skills on a basic level in a child, because really that's what these are. We want to be able to teach a child how to schedule their time, how to schedule their week. They've got school from 8 until 3. They have hockey practice from 5 until 7. They have dinner. When is that going to happen? When are they going to be able to study for tests? And at home, having regular routines set in place for your child is really key for having them develop these skills. Everything they do in the morning is the same. I get up, I make my bed, I brush my teeth, I make my breakfast, I load the dishwasher after I eat. These seem like such basic things, but in essence, it's exactly what you're teaching them, is those routines, especially with children that have any working memory issues or attention deficit issues. That constant consistency of routine is really beneficial for those children, because they need to get used to it. And believe it or not, as much as boring as it sounds, kids find a lot of comfort and security knowing what to expect and having a schedule to follow. It gives them a sense of control, gives them a sense of peace, and it allows them to be able to manage their life a little bit better. And on the academic side, you might notice your child needing executive functioning coaching when they're in school and they've done really well up until now, and all of a sudden things are kind of falling through the cracks. They're not doing as well on their tests. They're getting really stressed out. They're unmotivated. They don't want to study for their exams. They are handing things in late. These are usually a sign, not that a child is doing poorly in a certain subject necessarily, but that they don't have those executive functioning skills in place to be able to have control and manage their academic life. So small skills that we help put in place, like being able to be more organized, helping them capture information and organize it in a way that is effective to them on a calendar, on a week-to-week, setting reminders for them so that they can gain some more control and also be prepared for everything in their life that's to come.
So if they're watching their student in their home, their child, that's their student, and they can't find a pen and their binder's all broken apart and they're missing tests, they're missing essays, it's time for a little executive functioning coaching.
Yeah, it's time for a little of that.
but what they might discover is that they need some working memory work as well, because it's like they're forgetting or they're not using their memory linearly enough to follow a objective. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they're seeing half done assignments, scribbles on pages, work crumpled up and thrown in the wastebasket. Would that be a sign that they're experiencing some written output difficulty?
Written output and working memory, those two things really, in order to know for sure, have to be diagnosed by a certified, registered therapist or a psychologist, just to know for sure that there are signs that your child is struggling with working memory. It is the tasks, the multiple tasks that build up over time that they just can't complete and don't remember. Working memory is very common for a lot of people, and especially students that have any type of learning difference or attentional issues, because they need everything to be broken down for them, and it needs to be step by step. We tend to throw everything at our children, you know, like do this A, B, C, and D right now, but they're going to forget, except maybe the last thing that you said. And then we think as parents, oh, they're not listening. Like you're not listening to me. But really, they actually didn't. It didn't go in. With that, with working memory issues, all of those commands that we just gave them, or to do all at once, never sunk in the first place. So we have to really break it down for them. And then in terms of written output is a sign of when they have a really hard time getting their ideas out on paper. Luckily, in this age of technology, there is voice to text, and there's so many other ways that we can get our ideas out that sometimes it's not as obvious until you have paper to pencil happening, and their motor skills are struggling. Their handwriting is illegible, their spelling is terrible, and they can't get things out on paper. So if you do notice those things happening, it's always beneficial to go see a psychologist and have what's called a psychoeducational assessment done on your child, just to be certain that there aren't certain things going on. And also, it gives you power. The more you know about your child, the more you can advocate for them in the school system, the more they have a chance of getting those supports in place, the more you know about your own child.
And then the last one, gifted LD, the child that has a great perspective and can see, probably was speaking by the time they're like 9 months old, but can't learn in school.
Yes, there's a huge discrepancy between their intelligence and what they're performing. So they're really underperforming, underachieving, but at the same time, their mind is going and they've got such great ideas and such high level of intelligence. That's very common for them to go hand in hand because it's so extreme. So when that happens with children, it's us to set them up with those skills at the bottom end to be able to allow them to cope with their reading challenges, their writing challenges, a lot of times their math challenges. They definitely are smart enough. It's just us putting those skills in place that help them to be able to communicate their knowledge a bit better.
So then you can now provide coaches, basically BC, Alberta,
all over the country. We do have a StudySpot also exists in Winnipeg as well as Toronto. So we've covered almost the whole country.
Awesome. And how do people get a hold of you?
They can email me at cindy@studyspot.ca, or my number is 778-837-1915. And you can also take a look at StudySpot Vancouver. If you were to Google StudySpot Vancouver, our information will come up there too.
Fantastic. We've had Cindy Stibbard, owner of StudySpot Vancouver. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, James.